Look, I've tried every dose under the sun of Piracetam over the years. Back in the heyday for me with nootropics, I dosed Piracetam a lot. I've dosed 4 grams. I've dosed as much as 6 grams at a time. I've dosed 1 gram at a time. I've gone as low as 800 milligrams at a time. I've dosed it with choline sources and without choline sources. I've dosed it with choline bitartrate, with alpha-GPC, with CDP choline. I've dosed it with all those choline sources in various doses. Piracetam, in addition to modifying NMDA glutamate receptors, is one of the strongest potentiators of cholinergic activity in the brain and thus focus, memory, verbal fluency, and general cognition via acting on muscarinic acetylcholine receptors. The stuff increases oxygen consumption in the brain, modulates ion channels, which has a direct positive effect on neurotransmission, and is one of the most powerful agents to improve mitochondrial dysfunction post-oxidative stress. I'm going to give you the best protocol for Piracetam as a starter and as somebody ongoing taking Piracetam in this video. All right, my company is a wellspring of information and good products related to nootropics, brain performance, TRT, and biohacking. You can find all of our products at livecortex.com or down in the description of this video. I got a couple nootropic stacks, which are down in the description. And the most prominent thing I want to get across to you is that I am almost booked for coaching this season. If you need to hire me, you can do so at livecortex.com. We've got large-scale one-on-one hands-on programs where we make a lot of positive change in men. And I'll explain more about those programs at the end of this video. So Piracetam's the granddaddy, okay? Every other racetam, including oxiracetam, aniracetam, phenylpiracetam, fasiracetam, pramiracetam, and coliracetam, were derived from Piracetam, right? This is the original OG racetam. It's also one of the most original OG nootropics in the book that people have taken for many, many years. Some people take daily, is extensively studied and extremely safe. Cognitively, Piracetam makes me feel like a better version of myself. My memory's better, my verbal fluency is better, my general energy's better, general cognition is better. There are times where I feel like I'm actually a little bit smarter than I typically am at baseline, and that would make sense because you're optimizing a neurotransmitter that allows nerve impulses to send better. Direct modulation of the muscarinic acetylcholine receptors improves brain performance. It is a potent eliminator of brain fog, like where you can't find the word that you're thinking of or you just can't get yourself motivated to do something. Like, it has a wide variety of applications and is multifaceted in terms of improving cognitive performance. So in this video, we're going to talk about the best dose of Piracetam, but first I'd like to get into some studies. Here's one quickly. Piracetam improves mitochondrial dysfunction following oxidative stress, in which there's 5 major bullet points here, but I'll read you the last one. In conclusion, therapeutically relevant in vitro and in vivo concentrations of Piracetam were able to improve mitochondrial dysfunction associated with oxidative stress and or aging. Mitochondrial stabilization and protection might be an important mechanism to explain many of Piracetam's beneficial effects in elderly patients. Mitochondria is what fuels the cell. And in that impaired mitochondrial state, like, you're not going to produce energy the right way. Your memory is not going to be as good. Your general neurotransmitter firing is not going to be as optimal. If you wanted to find a racetam that directly improves verbal fluency, there is no better racetam than Piracetam. This is a paper that is titled Piracetam improves activated blood flow and facilitates rehabilitation of post-stroke aphasic patients. And these people that have had strokes, like, one of the common side effects is they can't talk right, like their speech is a little messed up. Piracetam therapy improves the recovery of various language factors in this study, and this effect is accompanied by a significant increase in task-related flow activation in eloquent areas of the left hemisphere. So even though this is a very effective compound for people that have cognitive decline and people post-stroke, you have to think about what this is going to do to the average brain. Right, you're going and optimizing blood flow in certain regions. You're connecting the hemispheres, by the way, for interhemispheric communication. That's another really big plus of taking Piracetam. Enhancing long-term memory, reference memory, verbal fluency. It's one of the most powerful compounds there is, boys. It's been deemed safe in the treatment of epilepsy. Okay, long-term treatment of Piracetam has been deemed safe both in this study and many other studies. There's an analgesic activity, right? We're property of Piracetam. If that wasn't enough, it also inhibits some inflammatory cytokines, which is probably one of the reasons that it allows, your brain to function better in addition to the cholinergic mechanisms. Look, in my heyday of using nootropics, especially in the beginning, by the way, my first real stack was Piracetam, alpha GPC, and Alcar, and it fucking blew my mind. And I've dosed every dose under the sun, from 1 gram to as low as 500 milligrams. I've dosed 800 milligrams at a time, 2 grams, 3 grams, 4 grams, 5 grams, 6 grams at a time, attack dose Piracetam. And I can tell you that the best strategy to dose Piracetam, both as a beginner, I'm going to give you a strategy for, as well as somebody that's ongoingly taking Piracetam, would be the following. Number 1, if you've never taken Piracetam before, the best starter dose, and to continue moving forward taking Piracetam, is 2 grams, okay? 2 grams. You're going to want to supplement Piracetam with a tiny bit of a bioavailable choline source, one that'll cross the blood-brain barrier and start affecting brain chemistry right away, so that it gives you usable choline to synergize with the mechanism of Piracetam, which is, besides some glutamate receptor optimization and blood flow optimization and hemispheric integration, it's really activating and potentiating the effect of the muscarinic acetylcholine receptors. Adding that extra choline in the mix helps facilitate that process with a pretty clean synergy. I would be dosing between 50 and 100 milligrams of either alpha GPC or CDP choline. In some cases, you've got to be careful with this because the brain regulates choline quantity and content very carefully. If you go over in acetylcholine concentrations, you're going to have side effects. So you might need to dose some choline one day with your Piracetam and not dose it the next day. Keep in mind with some of the bioavailable choline sources like citicholine, it actually has a 70-something hour half-life. Okay, so you don't need to be dosing that every day if you're dosing Piracetam, 5 days a week. Why 2 grams is a beautiful sweet spot is that you don't run the risk of side effects of over-cholinergic activity, which can come with brain fog and kind of make you feel lethargic and tired, which you don't want. And you do not want to desensitize any of the response to the neurotransmitter acetylcholine on the receptor side, which plausibly you can do with high dosing Piracetam, okay? This is why 2 grams is a beautiful sweet spot. And interestingly, it's very potent for a good degree of individuals at simply 2 grams. The best way in this case, as a new person dosing Piracetam, to then dose Piracetam like on a schedule is a half hour before they're going to sit down and do work, right? You got cognitively intense or demanding work that you must do that you're not present for cognitively because you're just sort of in a funk or you have brain fog. Dose Piracetam at 2 grams, a little bit of citicholine or alpha GPC, 30 minutes later, go to town. Usually the effect duration window is 3 to 5 hours on Piracetam. It's not very long and it's not very short. It's actually a great period within which you can get a lot done if your brain is firing and being efficient. So that's how I would dose it if I was somebody new. And this is in the context of an acute necessity for brain function to do work and get stuff done, or to give a speech or be verbally fluent. Like, there's a lot of different use cases for Piracetam. Secondarily, okay, if you're messing with no other nootropics and you want to keep it very simple, but you'd like something in the regimen that will improve brain performance pretty dramatically, and you want to do it on somewhat of a consistent basis, the best way to dose Piracetam over the course of a week would be 4 days on, 3 days off. That's just what I found over the years is the best way to dose this stuff. Again, you want to prevent, overactivation of the choline receptors. You want to prevent homeostatic regulatory mechanisms that downregulate your response, to the cholinergic activation that Piracetam is able to induce. 4 days on, 3 days off. Like, you get to have your cake and eat it too in this strategy. You could vary those days: Monday on, Tuesday off, Wednesday on, Tuesday off, Thursday on, Friday off, or Wednesday off, and Saturday on, like, etc. You can absolutely do that if you wanted to. Honestly, the best effect you're going to get is 4 days in a row of using Piracetam and then cycling off for 3 days. I understand that everyone's always looking for, okay, what is the stuff that I can take every day that's going to improve performance? We made 2 nootropic stacks for that. One of them is called Torque. It's one of the best nootropic stacks you're ever going to find on the market, built, designed, manufactured by yours truly and our company, and the other is called Cortex. All right, so we've got daily stacks for that. Piracetam is not a daily nootropic. Back in the day when I drank, which I don't drink anymore, I may have a sip of my date's margarita or a sip of my date's wine, like to taste it. I do not drink. But when I did, alcohol induces oxidative stress and it decreases cognitive performance. Not only that, obviously via the GABAergic binding and some of the other neurotransmitter release, it gets you like saying shit that you shouldn't be saying. It just is a weird state to be in. However, in the presence of alcohol with Piracetam, I found in my early years, and it was like a really great experience for me, that I could drink booze, not lose my cognitive function, also not lose self-control, be highly, highly functional neurologically and in terms of brain performance while I'm consuming booze, but still get the enjoyment out of alcohol, right? In that acute period where, you're a little happier or whatever, right? I don't want to uptalk alcohol because I think it's honestly fucking terrible, but people drink and that's that. So if you're going to, throw down 2 grams Piracetam right before you start drinking, your brain's going to function better. You're going to have a lot better of a time. Trust me. Interestingly, Piracetam can serve as a pre-workout. It is energizing, it is cognitively enhancing, and it gets you focused specifically on being able to push that extra bit. I mean, you're not going to grow. You're not going to build 3D delts. You're not going to have a nice chest and a nice, tight, muscular physique if you don't push. You can't go maintenance at the gym. You got to fucking push hard. Piracetams and other cholinergic agents make that possible. Lastly, I think everybody needs to sit down and look at their lives every now and then plan and just kind of analyze and just kind of do an analysis of what's happened, what's going on, what you've done wrong, what you need to do moving forward. How can you realign like all of your tasks, like all of the stuff that you need to do productivity wise in order to reach your goals, like, get the house you want or get the promotion or continue building the business or do more revenue. Piracetam is an excellent agent to sit down and do analysis of everything that's happening in your life so that you can come up with an action plan moving forward to like continue facilitating you going where you need to go. By the way, every successful entrepreneur, every successful person I know, including myself, does that. All right. So overall, 2 grams at a time, little bit of a choline source, all right? 50 to 100 milligrams citicoline or alpha GPC. Again, keep in mind, citicoline has a long half-life, so you might not need to dose that daily. Alpha GPC has a shorter half-life and has more choline content per milligram or of material. 4 days on, 3 days off. If you're going to be taking it ongoingly, and if you're just dosing it acutely, you just dose it acutely at 2 grams and you find your choline sweet spot for you that works and you go to town. Dose it a half hour before work in every instance. Go to town, get stuff done, recognize your brain is firing on a different level, and thank me later. If you need work on nootropic regimen design, TRT protocol design, sexual dysfunction resolution, whether it's libido or erectile quality issues, dopamine systems regeneration, neurotrophic factor brain regeneration, general biohacking, where there's unlimited calls, online document generation with targeted protocols for you. You are working directly with me on either a 3-month basis, a 6-month basis, or a 1-year basis. Some long-standing issues take time, guys, to resolve. And I need the time to look at bloods, to run experiments, to track everything, to get you better. If you need to book me, please book me livecortex.com for 3 months, 6 months, or a year. If you've got the budget and you're a hard-charging person, just do 6 months or a year. All right, we're going to get a lot more done. These coaching programs are almost booked. So if you're thinking about booking me, you've got to do it ASAP, and there's no better time, boys. I'd appreciate the fact that you've been with me. Like the video if you liked it. It really makes a difference in the algorithm and kind of pushes our videos out to other people. Sub to the channel if you've just come here and you're new and you're wanting to learn about nootropics, TRT, hormone optimization, sexual optimization for men. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you guys. Hope you're having a great week. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And I'll talk to all you beautiful people on the next one. Live stream this Saturday. Later.